So together, front end, back end, we call it as full stack application. In this you have front end, HTML pages. To style HTML pages, we use CSS, and for interaction purpose, to manipulate in the browser, we use actually JavaScript. Okay. Along with that, we need web server, which is going to serve the requirements. Whatever you send from client, from the web browser, whatever requirements you send, they'll be served by here the web server and database server. We use simple HTML. Okay, we use simple HTML, CSS, and simple JavaScript. If we want to use any front end like React, it's going to be again another different topic. Or if you go with Angular, it's going to be different. And in the case of Vue also, it's going to be heavy again. So these are different frameworks altogether. React.js, Angular, Vue.js. We can use them in the front end. But we use simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and other one is jQuery. JavaScript jQuery we use here to get connected to server side. See, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, again, they are going to be heavy subjects because you have so many things in the HTML, in the CSS, in the JavaScript. But I show you how to create simple pages, how to style in a simple manner, then using jQuery, how to get connected to backend API. So that we cover in this. Because it takes a lot of time again. Suppose you to learn React.js, it takes 1.5 months time. That's a different thing again. Angular and Vue.js also, they are going to be in the same way. Even jQuery is in the same way actually. There are so many modules in that you have so much heavy that is. Okay, so in this Python, now what we do, we work with the Flask web server. So Flask is basically the framework available with the Python. There are three web frameworks available. Django is one, Flask is another one, Fast API is another one. But we use Flask because it's lightweight when compared with the Django or with the, say, Fast API. Okay, so we are going to work with the Flask. And in order to work with actually web applications, we can use sometimes a virtual environment. Okay, so now whenever you install anything in the Python, it gets installed globally. Globally in the sense, whenever I install anything, it goes into, say, some G drive. In the G drive, in the program files, somewhere Python actually gets installed. Okay, so here if you see libs we have, here in this it gets installed. Everything will be coming from here. You go with include, so you have all these things. The libraries get installed here. Even if you look at the tools kind of thing, so here everything is getting installed for us. This is called as basically the globally everything is getting installed for us. So available here globally in this manner here. Okay, you have DLLs in this. All these are different DLLs, dynamic link libraries. Docs you may maintain here like this, etc. We have Jupyter kind of thing in this I have. We go with the include. So these are other things available. We have libs, Python 3 lib, Python 3.10 lib also available in this. So like this, what is happening? The Python libraries, they get installed. In the DLL folder, they get installed. Whenever you install something, it goes into this particular folder here. Okay, so it will be getting installed here in this area. Okay, so we have actually various, whenever you install something, globally it goes into this position. Once again here, we try to see one more folder, program files. This is x86. Okay, so we don't have anything here in this. We go to C drive. In the C drive, let us see. We go with programs. Then do we have anywhere Python in this? We don't have Python in this. When we come into this, the program files, 86, x86. So we don't have anything here also. Everything is getting installed in the G drive. Okay. Now, whenever we install something, it gets installed globally somewhere in this Python folder. So in the program files, it gets installed. Okay, all this get installed here in this, in the Python 3.10. This is going to be getting installed. Okay. But suppose you want to use, you want to develop two applications. One is based on the Django, other one is based on the Flask. And in such cases, they should be part of the folder wherever we are creating application. It should not be globally. So in such cases, you can create a virtual environment. A virtual environment is going to, have its own dependencies. Here dependencies we have actually globally somewhere in the G drive, in the Python folder, normally they get installed. But whenever you go with the virtual environment, whatever you install using pip, they are part of actually your virtual environment. They are not going to be getting saved globally. So whenever you want to develop applications, suppose sometimes you want to develop Python 2.7 based, and sometimes you want to develop Python 3.10 based. So in such cases, you can create a virtual environment. In that itself, you can install Python version, whatever version you want to use, that version you can install in that, then you can work. But globally, you are going to use 3.10. But for a particular project, if you want to develop using Python some other version, in such cases, you can use virtual environment. So how to create now virtual environment? Let us see. So first of all, what I do, I go to G drive. Then in this, I want to install, then say pip install, then here say virtual env. So this is nothing but virtual env I'm creating. A virtual environment is getting installed. So already that is satisfied. That means already I have actually installed the virtual environment. Okay. Then I say here md, say venv related, I type here. The folder is venv related, and into this I actually change the directory. venv related. That means virtual environment related projects I'm going to put in this. The next thing is what? I have to create some project with the virtual environment. So I can give a command here, virtual env. This is the command I can give. Then followed by I should give the folder name. Okay. So I write it as swat flask. Like this I put it. Swat flask, I want to create a new environment here. Virtual environment I'm going to create like this. So now it is going to create a virtual environment. Now when we see here dir command, what happens? See, it has created swat flask. So just change into cd swat flask. Then here type the command dir. So in this we have a folder called scripts folder. There is a folder called scripts folder. Then here in this you have actually activate some script file is there that we need to invoke. So very first thing is what we have created here, a virtual environment. How we created using the command on the top. If you go on to the top, here you can see the command. The command is virtual env swat flask. Like this I created. In the same way, whatever you want to create, you can create. Virtual environment related application you can create. So this is an application. This is virtually existing here. That means whatever dependencies you require, they are going to be part of that particular place. In that place itself, you can find. Otherwise, if you don't use virtual environment, all the libraries, they are available globally. Okay, but here what happens? They become local. Only local they become. For example, yes, what?
Virtual environment variables and virtual environment both are same?
See here what we are doing. We are creating, first of all, a virtual environment based application. So in this application, whatever libraries you want to install, you can install in that. Okay, so concerned to this application, whatever libraries you require, you can install in this particular thing, in the virtual environment. Okay, so once you created virtual environment and whatever libraries you wanted to include in that, once you include them, what happens? You can use them in your application throughout. Okay, so first complete this part, then we'll discuss about those things.
Okay.
So the first thing is what here? We created a virtual environment. So virtual environment we created here. So once virtual environment is created, whatever modules you want to have in that, we can install in that particular environment. Okay. So once libraries are available here with the virtual environment, then what you can do here, you can develop application, then you can start running that particular application. So here first we created a virtual environment. That means a new folder has been created for us. So in that folder now, whatever other modules you want to install, they can be installed. But before installing, you need to start the virtual environment. So here, as you come down, what is happening? We changed into consult folder here, SWAT Flask. Now next thing is what you need to here. First of all, activate that. You need to activate virtual environment. So for that purpose, there is a folder, scripts. In that scripts folder, we have that. So just see here, dir scripts. Whatever files are available in that, they are going to be listed with this. See, one of the thing is what here, activate. You have here one file called activate. So using activate, you can run it. And in this you have pip3 also. Pip3, you have pip 3.10 pip. All the required things are created in this. Whatever required tools are, whatever tools are required here, they are going to be available in this particular thing. Now, I just want to go with the activate. So what I give here, scripts, then followed by I give here activate. Okay, so we come to that particular part, cd, then I write here scripts. Then I type here activate. Now what is happening? We are in the virtual environment called SWAT Flask. You can see here in the right side in the normal parenthesis, in the parenthesis you get here SWAT Flask. Now again come to root here. So in the SWAT Flask folder now we are. Next thing what we do, we need to activate it. So just go with the activate. So already activated, it is already activated. So once activated, we can install required packages in this. We require here a Flask package or module, required to be installed. Then here write pip install followed by Flask. We give like this. So Flask will be getting installed now in this. So what happened now here? We have installed Flask. Just try to see dir command in this. Okay, we go into lib folder, lib. Now type in the lib folder /p. We have a folder called site packages. So cd site packages we type. Now in this you can find the Flask. So just type dir /p. Here you can find the Flask. See, Flask folder is available. Flask 2.01 distribution is available. So like this, whatever files are required, they are installed in this. Okay, so whenever you go with the virtual environment, automatically in the site packages folder, they get installed when you go with the virtual environment. Now we are in the folder SWAT Flask. In this folder we are. So next thing is what already it is activated. Now we need to write code here Then after that, we need to start running the Flask application. Okay, we try to build a simple API here. A web application we create, and what we do then, we try to run that from the browser. So in the browser, we are going to see it. So for that purpose, I use here some sample piece of code. Okay, so sample piece of code I want to use in this. Then first of all, very first thing what I should use is I have to go with this particular thing. These libraries I need to install. Then I start here, Visual Studio Code. Okay, I go with the Visual Studio Code here. Okay. So this is Visual Studio Code. It's getting launched. Then here it is a new file. So in this file, I choose Python. Very first step in this is I need to import these things. From Flask, import Flask, render template, request, send from directory, then JSONify, JSON. So initially we start with here Flask only. Okay, so these are the packages available in this. We are going to use these packages for different purposes. So first we need to import them. From Flask we are importing the Flask. Then other thing is render template. This is for rendering HTML pages. Request, send from directory, JSONify, comma, JSON. So these we have, importing from the Flask module or Flask package. The next thing is, we come to this point. Then we need to go with then here in this what we do, we need to create application called Flask. So app equal to Flask __ name. So with this we can create a Flask application. Here we created a Flask application first of all. App equal to Flask. In the brackets we put __ name __. Like this is the syntax we need to use to create a Flask application. So an app is created, an application is getting created here. So once application is created, we need to listen it from some port. Okay, so we have to come to the port configuration also. Somewhere in the bottom we configure the port. So here what we do, we come in this manner, we write in this manner. Then here in this code we put it. So this is what localhost. That means when you are running something in your computer, you use your computer both as server and client. Then in such cases, we use 127.0.0.1. This is called a localhost, and it's called as local loop also. Okay. Whenever you want to develop web applications and when you want to test or see, you can use localhost. Normally, when you develop a web application, you have to host in some server. So we don't have any server available. Therefore, in the local host only we do it. Okay, so first of all, we created Flask application. Then here, if __ name __ equal to its main, then what we do, this is the main application. app.run, then host is 127.0.0.1, port 5001, debug equal to true, threaded equal to true. Multi-threaded application, this is going to be. So like this, we have created here the Flask application, bare minimum we have designed here, but nothing comes from this. So we require some kind of routing in this. So we create here some route mechanism. So the route is going to be like this. I do here. Okay. So I can add route using this app route mechanism. I just take this one. Okay. I define my route in this. So what I say, this is the route. ROUT route is different, ROOT route is different. This route meaning is what? This is the starting point I can say. Whenever I type 127.0.0.1, automatically it's going to show this particular thing. So here I write return, welcome to Flask API. we write something like this. This is what here, welcome to Flask API. In this manner, we do it. And we have to save this as app.py file. Now, bare minimum we are creating in this. So very first thing is what we are importing Flask. Then after that, we make a app equal to Flask underscore name underscore. This is called as here constructor. So using that, we created a Flask application. At the end, what we do, if underscore name equal to underscore main underscore, then in that case, it is nothing but app.run host 127.0.0.1, port is 5001, debug true, threaded equal to true. We have written like this. Okay, then inside this we have written the root. Root is nothing but some resource name you can think. Okay, so when you don't specify any resource name, automatically this comes. This is called as here root. See, ROOT root is different, ROUT root is different. And I define one more root also. I can say like this. Here, I put this. I name this as first. Here I want to put a name as here first. Okay, this is welcome to first root I put here. I can write this as welcome to first root. I'm going to put in this number. These two are different roots here. So first one is what? Main. That means whenever you type 127.0.01, automatically this comes. Similarly, when you go with this slash first, in that case this part comes. Now let us save this. Then after that, we try to. So what was the folder name? This is SWAT. What is this exactly? We are in the folder. Just now we created a folder. This is actually when related. So we go into this part. When related. In this, we create the file. So here I say this as app.py. I'll write this as app.py here. So a Python file in this I'm creating. So next step is what? If I go to this prompt and see, so it is going to show these things, and you have here app.py file. Now I can launch it. Python followed by app.py. Okay. So what it says in this? Assertion error we are getting with this. So when I go with this and see, I have defined app root slash methods equal to get I have written. Okay, so this is very much correct. I've gone with the request also in that. Don't I have request in this? This request in this, render template in this. When I go with this here, app root slash methods get. Okay. Get root return welcome to Flask API we have written, and this is what get root data. Okay. Get sample data like this. Save this after that. Now what is happening? The server is running in this. The server is working with the 127.0.0.1:5001. This is what? This is the URL and IP address, and this is the port number. On 5001, it is available now. So this is only development server. We have started the application app.py file. Now here we can see this in the browser window. So we go with the Chrome browser. In the Chrome browser, let us try to run this. So this one I'm going to run here. First thing is 127.0.0.1:5001. When I say what it says, welcome to Flask API. What I have written in this is called as root here. So in the root, welcome to Flask API, it's saying here. Suppose if I write first, it's going to return different data. Now see here, slash first UT. What happens now? It says welcome to first root. See, there are two different things we are getting. When you don't give anything, just we give the site name. In that case, what happens? Welcome to Flask API, it says. But when you type here, first thing is what? The IP address followed by the port number, then slash first value port. So this is going to be getting returned. Welcome to first root, it says. It says here, welcome to first root. So this is the difference you have. When you go with the slash, it's nothing but root. So it's going to be printing welcome to Flask API. But when you type here 127.0.0.1:5001 slash first where you say, it says welcome to first root. There are two roots available in this. So first root is what here? Simply with slash we write, and second one is what here? Slash first. So this we use whenever you call a resource from the web browser window. Whenever you are calling something from web browser window, you can use the root name there. Okay, but this is what it's a method name. So inside the Python code, we write this method, and this method will be invoked whenever we go with this kind of mechanism here. When we say first, it's calling actually get sample data. But when you don't specify anything, it's going to call welcome to Flask API. So that is the difference between the two roots here. When I put something like this, what is happening? Automatically we come into this method. It's printing here, welcome to Flask API. But when you go with the slash first, so in such cases, it's returning welcome to first root. So like this, we have the two differences in this. So this is called as here routing. We are going to route like this. And this is here REST API. It's called as representational state transfer. We call this as here representational state transfer. So with this, it's returning this. Now here one more thing what I do. Okay, I can write another route also if required. Third route also if required, we can actually do that. So third route what we do is, okay, third route what we are going to do in this is, I can put something like this here. @ app, then write dot root. Okay, then here in this, I can put something like here in the single quote. The single quote, say add. I'm writing it as add. Then here, methods equal to, here I put this as get. In single quote, I write get. There can be get method as well as post method. We have two methods. One is get method, other one is post method. Then define the method here. So in the method, this is def add numbers. You put like this, add nums. It's going to be method name. Here it's going to be adding two numbers and returns the value. Here write return something like 10 plus 20. So this should return actually a value 30 for us. What we say here, return 10 plus 20. We save this, automatically it's getting here readjusted. So now once again it's getting done here. So if I try to type something here, automatically it shows error. I put some semicolon here. Now if you go to command prompt, it's not automatically doing anything. I remove the semicolon here. I try to type here one more root. App, then say root. Okay, put here root. Then in this case, put something like here simple. What I type there, I put add something like that. I write here sample. Okay, sample I'm typing. Then in the next method, here what I do def something like show. I put this way. Show, then here colon. Now I save this. If you come to this point here, okay, so now here write it as return sample text, like this I type. It's a sample text like this. I've defined this. Now here, it's automatically compiling this particular thing. It can automatically compile. If there is any error, it will show immediately. So I have written something like this. Then I try to run this here. Go to again prompt here. Then I try to go with add nums. What is the root name I have? So as per root name only I should go. Just it is add. I can type here add. This is going to be, so it's giving error here for us. Let us do Control C. Then again try to, then once again I try to compile this. Now I come with the add here, then try to print, nothing is shown here. It did not send a valid response. Why it is so? See here. What I am doing here, return 10 plus 20. So when I say 10 plus 20, it's giving here error. Let me put here str. So I'm typing here like str. This is nothing but here add numbers. It's add numbers. Now try to, here it got compiled, then again go with the add here. Now it says 30. So when I tried to send simply numbers, it was giving error for us. So if you remove this here, it cannot send data because that requires only string data. If I put something like this here, this gives error for us. Try to run this. So it is unable to return anything for us. Type error it says. The view function did not return a valid response. So it should return a string or a dictionary or tuple. So it should send something like this. It is giving returning number, so it is error. But if I convert into string, it will not be any error. So go in this way and try to return the value like string here. Now let us try to run this. So this time without any difficulty, it's going to be running. Similarly, if you go with the say show or sample, it's going to print that sample text. I write this as here sample. So when I type sample, it's going to show some sample text for us. Like this, what is happening exactly? We created here a simple Flask server and we are invoking the various root, you are calling the methods. These are called as REST API methods. So when you say slash, it's returning welcome to Flask API. Similarly, when you say sample data, it's going to be returning welcome to first root. Okay, first when you call. Whenever you go with the add, it's returning, it's adding two numbers and returning data. So when you go with the sample, it's returning sample text. So like this, what is happening? We have defined here, say some 4 different methods. This is the top level root level methods, and this is first method, add method, and sample. So all of them are nothing but get methods. Whenever you work with web, you have get method, you have post method, you have delete method, and one more thing is you have update method. All they are nothing but, we can say CRUD operations: create, retrieve, update, and delete. So those are the methods available with the HTTP. Okay, so here we created these various routes and we are calling them from the web browser. Now suppose we want to return a HTML page. So in that case, how we do? See in this. Okay. So what I'll do in this case, already I added here some render template. So here I can create I can put here the folder name like HTML I put here. So here itself, what code I need to change? I have to change simply in this. After name, I should go with the comma, then template folder. So template folder, what I do in this, the comma, template folder is here. We say this as client. Okay, type this as actually client. So these are client pages. That means what? Client pages. But in this folder, I require another folder called client. So for the time being, what I do, I break this, then I create here another folder empty, then I say client. I can create here a client. A client folder is created for me. Now I have to render a template. That means a HTML page has to be rendered. So for that purpose, I can create one more root. It's called as default. So I put here on the top. Okay. So this is what, just root name. I'm going to change this as Flask. I put this as here Flask. This one I say is Flask. Now I can put something like this here, and this is going to be home. So in the home, I want to return a default page. I need to design now that particular page in this HTML page I need to create. So here it is what default.html from client folder it should come. I've created a folder called client in this. Now if you see, there's a folder called client in this. In the client folder, I should keep now the concerned default.html. Let me create here one more file. The new file it is. I want to use HTML. With this HTML, I want to create. Then I go with HTML here in this. Okay, so HTML page is something like this. Inside this, we go with the head. Okay, then here we go with the title. I write this as sample page. You can put like this. Okay, so this is what title, and here I can go with the body. In the body, I should define whatever I have to do it. I can put a paragraph. This is my sample HTML page. Like this, I can create a sample HTML page. Then I have to save this as, click on this, then say save as. Here I have a folder called client. Then I say here, not Django HTML, simple HTML, I need it. So this one I say as default.html. Default.html, save this. Now the file is available for us. If you look at the code, okay, so if we come into code in the app.py file, when we say here simply like this, we say simply the slash, it means it's the default one. It should render for us default.html. Now when we simply type here by removing sample, it should render that HTML page. So where is the page available? It's available in the template folder client. So template folder is client. In this template folder, we have the required HTML pages. I am going to render that HTML page by using just the site name here. Site name is nothing but 127.0.0.1:5001 is the site name. Okay. So once again, I need to start running it. Python app.py file. Now I remove this here. When I remove sample, what happens? See in this. It says this is sample HTML page. Now what page has come for us? Default page has come for us in this. So if you look at default.html, this is the code we have written. Okay, and more text we can add in this. So we can use h1. This is sample. Okay, then slash h1. In the same way, what we do, we take here h3 sample data we say. Then again here slash h1. In this manner, we put it. I added two more elements, and one is sample, other one is sample data. This is sample HTML page I created. Okay. Now when I try to run this, so now when I try to run this particular thing, what happens? See in this. It is printing sample, sample data. This is sample HTML page. So using the template folder here, we have a template folder called client. It's a separate folder. So from that folder, it's going to be rendering the HTML pages. So we have rendered simple HTML page. So in this today, what we have done, we imported First of all, we created virtual environment. Okay, after creating virtual environment, we have to start the virtual environment as we have done on the top. Very first thing is we created a virtual environment. Okay, then what we have done, we changed it to concerned virtual environment. Then after that, we activated using activate command. So it is part of actually scripts. In the scripts folder, we have activate. So we activated that. Once it's activated, we have installed here again Flask. Initially, we need to create a virtual environment. Whatever libraries you want to put in the virtual environment, we put that. Okay, what we have done here, pip install Flask. So in the virtual environment, Flask API is getting, Flask module is getting installed. Flask library is getting installed. So once Flask library is available, the next thing is what? We are going to add code in this. We created app.py file. So in the app.py file, very first thing is we are importing from Flask. Okay, then these are the various modules we are importing from Flask. Flask module, render templates, request, send from directory, JSONify, all these we are importing. Then here we created an application related to Flask using app equal to Flask. This is the constructor. We have used underscore underscore name underscore underscore, then template folder equal to client. Like this we use it. Then we are writing different routes. When we say simply the root here, so in that case, what happens? It's going to render default.html. But when you go with the /Flask, it's going to simply print welcome to Flask API. And when you say first, it prints welcome to first root. Similarly, when you say add, it's adding two numbers and returning. And when one more thing, sample, when you say it's printing here, sample text. And this is going to run on the port number 5001. In the end, we need to write if name equal to main, then we write app.run host equal to 127.0.0.1, port 5001, debug is true, threaded equal to true. Like this, we have written code, and with this, we could complete actually the app.py file. So this is using here client as template folder. In the client folder, we have one file called default.html. When you go with the root, it's rendering that HTML page for us. So like this, we created a simple Flask application.